This is Constance, and she is having what I refer to as an aggressive, progressive, or moderate mid-depth peel, and this is called the Skin Awakening Peel. And the reason I say that, we put this in the progressive section of my book, but some skins really respond to the liquid enzyme that I'm going to be using very well, and it gets a little more lifting and can actually turn into a mid-depth peel. I've just cleansed her skin with the pumpkin cleanser, which is a pumpkin enzyme. It has lactic in it as well as the naturally occurring acids that are in pumpkin. So it makes a nice exfoliating cleanser. And we're going to rinse her really well and then do a nice polish with the brightening scrub. And Constance has sensitive skin, some broken capillaries. She wants to improve the texture of her skin and just overall perking it up, having it look healthier, bring a little bit of glow to the skin tissue, help with the color tone a little bit, and always beneficial just as preventative, helpful with keeping the lines minimized and the skin looking smoother. To apply the brightening scrub. And I won't overdo this on Constance's skin. She doesn't really need a lot of polishing and a granular scrub. She's a client that I wouldn't have do a granular scrub at home as part of a pre-treat because of her sensitivity, the capillaries. She's not overly coarse. The skin, would probably be fine just with real good cleansings and other types of correctives. So I'm just kind of working it in here gently to get just a little bit of a deeper lifting for the skin or cleansing. Now, a lot of times when I remove the brightening scrubs, the pumice wash, many of my granulars, I like to take them off dry. But on Constance's skin, I'm going to actually remove it wet. And because the grains don't come off easily with a wet gauze, I'm just basically taking off the cleanser itself pretty much, and some of the grains are just rolling around, but then I'll go back and dry the skin with the gauze. If I'd done it the opposite way, I would just get more depth out of it, and for her skin that could be just a little bit too irritating. And dry your hands and then go back and feel the skin. And you'll be able to tell that there's still some grains rolling around, because like I said, they won't come off when the skin is wet. So I'm going to go back and just brush them away a little bit. And I'm going to be handing her the fan in a moment, and that'll also help to dry these. I've saturated a gauze with the 25% AHA gel. I use the 25 AHA, which is a pH of 2.5, the 20% lactic, and the 15% glycolic. Those three, they're all pHs of 2.5, and I use them quite frequently as initial pre-treats for many skin types, depending on what it is you're trying to do with the skin type. In this case, for Constance, I wanted to have the AHA gel on her skin, which is a mixture of all the different alpha hydroxys, and it's not quite as concentrated with one particular alpha hydroxy, particularly glycolic and lactic. It's lower percentages. And just put onto the skin for her just for a few minutes helps to give the skin just a little bit of rejuvenation, softening the cells, um, stimulating. Get back here. I'll give the skin a nice smoothing. This is not designed to be an actually deep exfoliating peel, but certainly a rejuvenating one. And she will experience some mild exfoliation overall. She's starting to get a little erythema, a little pinkness, certain areas of the face. Especially where most of the pinkness is coming up is where the capillaries are a little more fragile. But all of these mixtures that I'm using are going to be really beneficial in strengthening the capillaries, and they're not going to be too strong and overstimulating that they will cause them to break, which is something that you need to be aware of when you're working with real hot acids on a skin that does have some fragile capillaries. Okay, Constance, how do you feel? Does that all feel okay? And any tingling or anything? Okay, good. We're going to apply the liquid enzyme peel. Now, this is a real new formulation for me. I guess I've had it for about maybe a year. I love this mixture. Let me make sure she's good and dry. It's very unique, very different. I wasn't sure if we could take an enzyme like this, which is actually papaya, and make it liquid and put it in with these acids to get the kind of effect that I was after. But after working with it and putting the enzyme together with the acetic acid complex and the very low strength acids, we've got salicylic in it, it just makes a fabulous little lifting acid application. The combination of enzyme together with acid is very dynamic on a skin, and it depends on the skin and how they're taking it, but you can work sometimes with one layer and that will be enough, to 2 layers, to where I've actually seen the skin rolling off as I'm removing this mixture. It has just varied ways of responding to different skins. And so just kind of know that. You may do it on one skin that just gets a smooth polish as you would like to see with an enzyme, and then you may do it on another skin that will actually get a good lifting right there in the treatment. I like to get the first layer on, watch the skin, see how it does, and then in 5 minutes I will apply a second layer. Usually most people do not feel the first layer. It's the second layer when it's applied that becomes real noticeable. But I want to ask Constance how she's feeling and if you have any sensation.
There's a mild sensation.
And would you say it's more burning or more prickly? Does it feel like you have needles going in the skin, or do you feel heat?
A little heat.
A little heat, okay. And that looks real good. And the nice thing about her skin and what I see happening, which is a positive thing, is that the pinkness that's coming up is even all over. It's not, we just have a few little places that are a little redder than others, but in general, she's really responding nicely everywhere. Saturate the gauze again and make sure you have enough on there to do a really good application of saturating the skin all the way neck and face. And we're going to put a second layer on now. And this will stay on for 5 minutes. And usually this can kind of intensify. So it's not uncommon to feel hotter, Constance, but you can let me know if you are and what the sensation is becoming for you. I don't know if the camera is showing how her skin is just gradually, little by little, getting pinker and pinker. And that's okay. Like I've said before, redness is okay. That does not alarm me. You're always going to see skin turn pink and red with peels. It's when it's accompanied by a rash, swelling, unusual oozing, bleeding, anything like that, then you pull back, remove whatever you have on the face, rinse the skin, and just wait. Don't do anything else to that. Sometimes I will apply calming skin gel and just keep that on the skin. You can do the ice globes to cool the skin down, but do very, very little to a skin that starts to have a reaction. Go ahead and rinse her skin with cool water and the gauze pads. And for many people, myself included, when you wet the skin with this, sometimes it really stimulates and brings up more heat. So if you feel hotter, Constance, just know that that is just the way it is. That's the deal. And your skin will have a heat sensation. It really is lifting off. I don't know if the camera can zoom in on any of this and let us see how this is rolling off for her very beautifully. Some of those loosened skin cells. And so you're really getting a nice breakdown. This, of course, is going to make the skin a little bit more sensitive as we continue. And you want your pressure to be firm, because I do want to remove and loosen as much of this as I can with this enzyme. That's the beauty of working with an enzyme and an acid together. Your enzyme digests the cells, and then your acid loosens and breaks it up. Acetic acid complex is an organic substance from distilled vinegar, and works very well to help with the breakdown of the skin when you're doing this. See how beautifully that's all softening up and coming down when I'm cleansing her? We'll have to see if this is showing up on the camera. I'd like you all to see this. Okay, we've got all of this removed very nicely. We will let the skin dry. I'm going to take her eye pads off and do a little assessment, see what we have, how the skin looks. Now she's nice and pink all over. This is a beautiful look. Look how pretty her skin looks. If you just stopped here, if you want to just give the skin a really nice, healthy glow, you'd look great to go out for the evening. You've got color to the skin. We'd just finish her up with some sunscreen, powdered minerals, and her skin would sparkle all evening. Plus it feels real nice and smooth, very refreshed, vibrant, alive. That's why we call this the Skin Awakening Peel. Her skin is now awakened. Now we want to take it a little bit further, because we're going to get some lifting and peeling over the next few days. Very light though. That's why I said this is aggressive, progressive to moderate, mid-depth. And that all varies depending on how the skin takes everything in and if it does get some actual residual peeling. So now if pigmentation was a concern, this isn't in your protocol, but just know On any of these procedures where you actually add a vitamin A, a beta A, you do something at the end, we could always put the melanin suppressant on her, and it would be a good safeguard. It would just help to keep the skin a little bit more protected from maybe any of that melanin surfacing up, or help to reduce some of her pigmentation. The beta A is actually a little hotter than the vitamin A. Beta means salicylic, so this is a salicylic acid mixture with vitamin A, retinol. It has 18% retinol in it, and it's also got azelaic acid. You feel free to go ahead and put your fan up as high as you want, Constance. And we're going to smooth this in all over. Now this is a lot more yellow than the vitamin A peel. It also has a little bit more sting, because salicylic, just by nature of the acid, the component of that, is a hotter acid. It just has a little bit more of a burning sensation compared to the alpha hydroxys that are in the vitamin A peel. That's why it's a little hotter. But if someone, again, knows what you're doing, and you explain to them that you're going to go home with this on your skin, yes, your skin's going to look a little orange, you're going to look a little discolored, they're always just fine with that, because the outcome is so great. And this is going to help Constance with helping to strengthen the capillaries and just overall replenishing the skin. This also has azelaic, so keep it in mind as a good antibacterial, and then also, of course, rejuvenation and lifting. The omega-6 is a very bland, neutral formula of pure omega. It has linoleic and oleic acid. Oleic acid is an absorbing type of ingredient. It really penetrates anything that's on the skin into the skin. So always good to finish and layer with this if you're trying to carry something into the tissue. For example, if you had vitamin A on the skin or an antioxidant, and you put this omega-6 over it, it would help to drive it into the skin. Also, linoleic acid. That is a highly moisturizing and healing acid, so it really is nice to apply this. And using it this way, too, for her skin being a little bit dry and a little sensitive, it just helps to blend this vitamin A in some, and actually is a little soothing, makes the skin feel better. Okay, Constance is completed with the beta A peel. We worked the omega-6 into her skin. She's going to leave this on her skin overnight. When she gets up in the morning, she'll just do her shower as she normally would. A light cleanse, but her skin's going to have a really pretty, healthy glow, maybe a little pink. And then she may get a little flaking or peeling in the next few days. She could come back in a few weeks and repeat this procedure again. And I would like to see her for a week for a follow-up. That's always beneficial, to follow up with a good post-treatment and do a little oxygen. So that completes Constance Skin Awakening Peel. She'll be able to get up in a minute, have a drink of water, and be on her way. Thanks, Constance. Thank you.
information and support is 100% top notch. I mean, it's been really good for our business. It's been good for me. I know when I started back, you know, even as a beginning esthetician, I think a lot of times they're afraid of the peels and going a little bit more progressive. But, you know, really, had I not, people just plateau so much that it was just something I had to do. You know I started off with just, like I said, the facials, and then I started doing just maybe the glycolics and the lactic. I mean, it was a line upon line, precept upon precept, even in skincare. And so, you know, when you start off, I guess, you have to begin. And as I began, it's probably for the first year, I only really dabbled in with the maybe mildly progressive peels. And then I went to the Dallas. It was a Dallas trade show. It would be about 12 years ago, you know, and had experienced my first peel and then oxygen therapy. So I would have to say that those two elements, the peels and the oxygen therapy, are something I could not do without. I mean, I love my microdermabrasion, I love the lamb probe, but I have had the foundation of good peels and oxygen therapy for 12 years that I would not sacrifice. The rest of it, you know, I feel like, you know, if I had to just begin, I would, and choose, I would definitely keep those. I don't know, I think it's about 2 years ago, actually it's getting close to 3 years ago, that I just took the plunge to get the cleansers, and I think I just went ahead and went broad scale into the line with all the cleansers and the growth factors and the scrubs, and it just really has transformed the type of skincare that we're offering. It was the best decision and faith decision that I'd made for our business. You know, even though it was carrying 2 lines and it was between me and another esthetician, we just crank it out. You know, it's fun for people to switch up. They don't want to be stuck, and I think that's the thing is with Rhonda Allison products. You know, we usually keep them changed up every 3 to 4 months on their cleansers or on their topical solutions, and people, when they come back in, if they're out of something, they look forward to what you're going to put them on, because there's such a broad selection. And I think the one thing that keeps us the most motivated is that y'all are always bringing out new products. I mean, there's always something, you know, oh, well, what are you working on, you know, because, and even in the peels, so for the treatment room, there's just not a dry time.